purple gray skin is kind of a common thing that will happen with babies and a common complaint among newborn photographers where they look at the baby and they just think that they look purple, right? Like in here, in her eyes, she just has a kind of a purpley quality to her skin, or gray, however you want to call it. And what that really is that down here in her shadow areas, she's got too much cyan. So cyan, when it's in bulk like that, makes it look really dark and kind of bluish. And we want to remove that. And the way to remove that is to go opposite cyan, which is red. So if you add red to these shadows areas, it's going to take out that sting of purple gray and make her look warmer and healthier. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can go about getting that red or red yellow, that warmth, into those shadows areas and take out that purple. Okay, so let's say you process this without really fixing the white balance first, or maybe you don't have the raw file and you need to fix this purple gray skin tone and you've already retouched it, you've already gotten that hand out of there, but she's looking very cold. So a couple things that you can do. One, you can use a camera raw filter and go back into camera raw, even though this isn't a raw image. So we can go to filter and then camera raw filter. And it will bring us right back in here. Now, this is a PSD file we're working on, not a raw. So it's not going to affect it the exact same way, but you can do the same tactics as you would to a raw file. So you can come here to color grading. You can go to the shadows and you can warm them up. And it will warm up everything. So it's going to warm up the background as well as her skin. And you can work on that saturation. Now we're getting closer to more of a neutral. So I can click this eyedropper to see what's happening. And it is taking out, can you see that where like she almost looks cyanotic down here? It's taking all of that out because of that shadow move. It's also taking out the green in that pillow. So you can do quite a bit in this camera raw filter to help that blue tone. Then you click OK, and it's going to put it in there as, if you go to your history, you're going to be able to see there it is. So there's our before and there's our after. So if we didn't want it to do it on our layer, we would want to make a copy of that first and do it that way. So one other way that you can do that, I'm going to show you before I did that camera raw filter, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. I'm going to change this to color. I'm going to go up to filter. And now I already did it. So if you go to this top filter, it's going to do the same thing that I did last time. So I'm just going to do it like that. And then I would have two layers. So there I could see before and after. And if you wanted to, you could brush off just the areas that you want to affect or not affect. Or the other thing that you can do is you can do this as a smart filter. So I'm going to drag that to the garbage again. I'm going to click Command J on my retouch layer, and I'm going to cut this color. And then I'm going to right click and say convert to smart object. Now I'm going to go to filter, camera raw. Oops. There we go. And it's going to open up that dialog box. And then I can make my changes in here. So I'm going to go to my shadows and I'm going to make them warmer. And I'm going to go to my highlights and I'm going to make them a little bit cooler, a bit less green. And let's see how that looks. There's before, there's after. I like that better. Okay, click OK. And now you can see that it's in there, but you also have this new smart filter. So now if I wanted to, I can come in here and change it. So I could say, okay, I went too far red with those highlights. I can move them here and click OK. So that's one way that you can take care of purple skin. And that's how I do it, is more of a global shift to all of the shadows and all of the highlights rather than trying to come in and fix them individually. But let's look at what that would look like if you did. Let's say your background's the way you like it. You don't want to affect anything there. You just want to work on the baby. There are a couple of different ways that you could do that. So you can do selective edits where like you're going to grab this side of her face where she's a little bit more bluish and maybe her eye over here. And you're going to feather the heck out of it and add a curve. Now what you can do is go to your reds, just like we did in the color grading, but now we're just doing it in a curve. So I'm going to go to my reds and I'm going to bring them up. I'm going to go to my blues and I'm going to bring them down. And that's going to add that warmth that we want in those areas. I'm going to click OK. And now there's before and there's after. And see, it's just warming up all those areas that were a little bit cool. You can always come in and brush out any areas that you don't want affected. Like I kind of got her shirt here. So if I didn't want that to change, I can come in and fix it like that. And now she's looking warmer just in those shadows areas. So now you have not affected the background, but you have fixed your cold shadows. If she looks too red, which I believe she does, you can do your red removal trick. So I'm going to go and add a hue saturation layer here. And I'm going to go to my red channel. Let's pull this out so we can see better. And we're going to move it all the way to the right. So we can see these blue areas that are being affected the most. The green areas are being affected a little bit and the white are not at all. And I'm just going to close down this little slider so that it's affecting less and less of the image and just affecting where I really want it to. And I'm looking at her hands because I know her hands are red and then kind of this area of her face. So I don't want it to be, I want that wrap to not be affected. So something like that. I didn't really get her nose, but I think that's okay. So then once we've got our mask made, we're going to go back down to 0. And then we're going to just move it the direction we want to move it. So in this case, I'd like it to be a little bit more yellow and a little less red. So I'm just going to move it to the right and turn that on and off. And you can see that's a pretty drastic shift. She did have a lot of red in her, but we're not removing it entirely. So I'm going to go something like that. And then I'm going to grab my brush tool, set to black. I'm on my layer mask and I'm just going to paint out her lips and her tongue because I want those to stay nice and pink. And I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger and a little bit softer. And I'm going to drop the opacity to just 20% and just brush a little bit on her cheeks so that her cheeks stay a little bit red too. So there's before, there's after, and it's taking that sting of red out of her. So now if we go to our background, our before layer, and then our after layer, she's looking much warmer and much healthier, and we're getting rid of that purpley gray skin tone.